Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. Welcome back to my channel. I am Cirie Reality, and we have a super exciting interview today with Arie Luydenyk. We're going to be talking all about Traitors, the new show on Peacock, which Arie just competed in. And spoiler alert, he decided to leave the show at the end of the game, and we got all into it and why he decided to leave. And we talked all about his experience on the show, and we talked a little bit about Bachelor Nation too. So I'm super excited to share this interview with you guys. Disclaimer, this interview was recorded on Instagram Live, so there was a little bit of Wi-Fi issues while recording. However, the interview still turned out really good because if you are invested in Traitors or you love Arie, we got all of the answers that we needed. So I still wanted to save this interview and upload it for YouTube and on podcasts, if you're listening on audio, so that you guys can hear it, because I am super proud of the interview. I think it's still turned out really well, but I had to come in here at first to tell you a little bit of the disclaimer, because there was a couple times where it seemed like I was interrupting Arie, especially towards the end, and I wasn't. It truly was just that the Wi-Fi was not working well while we recorded this on Instagram Live. So I'm gonna play the interview, but just keep that in mind. And I think I know now for future to not do interviews on Instagram Live. It just felt a little bit shaky, but it might have just been the Wi-Fi that day. So we'll see what happens in the future, but without further ado, here is my interview with Arie Luydenyk. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is Cirie Reality, and you are listening to Cirie Reality.
Hey, Arie.
What's up? I am good. I just went to a little thing at my daughter's. So I live in Phoenix, by the way, and it's pretty cold for Phoenix, but they had a snow day today, which is hilarious. They trucked in snow, and they all played. It was actually really
cool.
So
I went to Scottsdale in December for the first time. I thought of you.
Nice, very good.
Well, it's so nice to meet you again for the second time. We met in Barcelona 4 years ago. But now we're going to talk about Traitors, which was on Peacock. I loved the show. Did you expect it to be such a hit?
I mean, you just never know, I think for me it was more about the experience, and I think it came at a time where Lauren wanted to go visit family, and we were kind of at a stage where the babies were a little bit easier to raise, so she's like, you should go do that. It sounds like fun. And I watched the Dutch version, and I just was so intrigued by the gameplay and the social aspect of it and the social game that I was like, you know what, I think I could do this. So so I signed on, and I had no idea what celebrities would be there, how the cast was being put together. And so
it was so kind of random to see you there. I think it was random to see a lot of people there. We didn't know. Do you think that they picked you because of your past on The Bachelor and the show is called Traitors?
Yeah, 100%. So everyone that they put on that show, had something. I think it was for me, okay, the whole the deceiving another woman and that kind of thing. I think that was a big part of why they wanted me on the show. And I think that Brandi causes controversy, Ryan Lochte with his scandal at the Olympics. So I think everyone had a little something, and that's kind of what made it interesting, because you really had to kind of get to know the person and see, okay, is this who they are, or is this just the perception?
And I will save this live for everyone asking, and the show is called Traitors. And I actually knew all the reality stars because I love reality TV, obviously. And I was really frustrated watching it because I knew Cirie's gameplay. I have been watching her on Survivor since I was a kid. But I saw you say in another interview that you didn't watch Survivor.
I know. I mean, Cirie, looking back at the game, I'm kind of blown away. She played it perfectly. It really was a masterclass on how to play this game. I think we're kind of all figuring it out as we went along, and she was a little bit 2 or 3 steps ahead of everyone. I think it was any coincidence that I was recruited as a traitor based on the fact that I was so close to Cirie, and I think she felt like she really had me in her back pocket. So we kind of did. I think towards the end, though, I realized a few things, and I was trying to set myself up to win. But yeah, she just, I think it came down to that final mission. We were basically separated. So Kate and I were separated from the rest of the group because you had the helicopter mission, and then you had, on that mission, you also had a boat element to it. So we were in the helicopter, and what they didn't show was on the way, Andy got sick, Quentin got sick, and Cirie told me that she wasn't a great swimmer. And I didn't even think she was on Survivor. Of course, she's got to be able to swim. But she's like, no, I'm going to stick with them on the boat. You and Kate are probably the best at maybe the part of the challenge. But really, she was kind of setting herself up for the rest of the game because she was like, okay, let me get Arie isolated with Kate and work a bond with Quentin and Andy. And, looking back, that was kind of the big pivotal moment where I should have, not thought about the mission so much, but more or less thought about the game. And she was always thinking about the game.
Yeah, and I think fans knew that of her before, but you and maybe some other people weren't familiar with her. But I feel like watching it, I didn't know how competitive you were, because I feel like at the end when you left, it almost felt like you were just giving up. So did you really want to win? Like, why did you decide to quit?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the big question, right? I think that a lot of people would watch it back. It was edited down quite a bit, so they didn't show my exit interview. And I think all along, since I became a traitor, I almost still kind of felt like a faithful. And my thinking was, yes, okay, the money is important, but it's more about the people and the people I've grown to sort of build a relationship with. And when she made it about money, it really kind of made me feel like, I have a beautiful life. I've got an amazing wife. I've got great kids. I've got just this incredible life. And for me, it was more about quitting to give Andy a clue, but no one picked up on the clue. What I said was, I never said congratulations. I said good luck. And then I also said I was recruited late. So I wanted them to pick up on the fact that, like, hey, if I was recruited late, maybe the numbers are, you're thinking there's only 2 traitors, maybe there was more. And then also, or 3 traitors, maybe there was 4. And then also, I was like, maybe they'll catch on to the fact that they were all males. And do you think they'd cast all males for the traitors? That seems kind of weird too. So I had all this stuff going on in my head, and I wanted to give them a clue. So I basically said, I walked away. I wanted to, instead of get banished, because I felt like I was going to get banished, because I felt like Cirie had a tighter bond with Quentin. Like she'd spent the whole day with Andy too, and had a really good bond with Andy. So I thought, I really want Andy to take home the money, Andy and Quentin. So I want to just give them a little Easter egg before I leave, and hopefully they pick up on it. But they were so excited about the possibility of winning that they just kind of were overwhelmed with that, where they didn't pick up the small clues. One of the biggest things I did was I gave Andy a big hug, I gave Quentin a big hug, and then I just walked away. So that, to me, I would be like, well, why didn't he give Cirie a hug? That's kind of weird. But they just didn't.
Could be just their inexperience, because they had never been on a reality show before. Also, Cirie had that pull on them. They were really loyal to a fault, which I think is one of the reasons why Cirie stuck with them to the end, because she knew she could manipulate them. She has 15 years of experience doing this. And I also assume that you're not allowed to call out other traitors. That will go against the game.
Yeah, so it happened in the British version, and it's a big no-no. And I really wanted to stay true to the game. I didn't want to do anything to ruin the... You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with the rules. A traitor cannot out another traitor. They can't say, Cirie, you're a traitor, because I know I'm one. And then it would ruin the entire game. So really, I did everything I could within the rules. If Kate were there at the banishment or at the end game,
I know
she would have.
I know, and that's what I said in one of my recaps, is that Cirie didn't go with you because she knew she couldn't use Kate anymore. Everything she did made so much sense. How do you feel about her saying Arie didn't deserve to win with me because he was only a traitor halfway through the game?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, she had a harder time at it. I don't know. It's just kind of she put me in the position to win, so it's kind of funny. but yeah, she felt like kind of a right, like she could take it away. But it was a super risky move on her part because we could have split the money and won, but instead she was like, let me just try like one step further and see if I can win it all, which I really commend her for. But looking back at it, man, it was like a super risky move. So was that the smartest for her gameplay? Probably not. That was probably the biggest risk she took the entire show. But no, I thought you deserved it.
I thought you had such a good chance because the luck was on your side. You won all those shields 3 in a row. So I was like, the universe wants Arie to win because they keep on giving him signs and help. And I was rooting for you so bad. I think all of Bachelor Nation was just like really pulling for you.
I know. Thank you. I mean, I had the best time, honestly. It was like a really cool experience to just kind of submerge yourself in that game, make the relationships that I did. You know, I still hang out with Andy and still talk to a lot of the castmates. And, I think it's the first season of the Traitors, and I feel like it's going to continue to gain popularity, and I feel like they're going to probably do a second series. I think my thing, though, is like if they do it again, they should either do all celebrities or affect the gameplay a little bit.
I think they should do a blood versus water. So they have like 2 people come in, like whether they're brother and sister, boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, and then they'll test it if you lie to your family member.
Yeah, that is a very good idea, actually. Really good. But apparently Cirie and Stephanie had just done a show before that called Snake in the Grass. And, like, Cirie knew, like, Stephanie was really bad at lying. So it's kind of funny how, like, if you have a bond with somebody and you've, like if you had a sibling go on, I feel like you'd be able to uncover.
Maybe, because on Survivor, they did blood versus water. And one of the girls, Cirie, she actually ended up voting out her mom because her mom wasn't in the majority alliance, so she thought it was best for her game. And it was like this whole moment. So I think they do that on Traitors.
Yeah, that would be really bad because what happens on Traitors is, somebody's name gets pushed around throughout the day and then it just like spreads like crazy. And then it's almost like no holding it back. It's like you got to go with the majority. And I think that's why you saw in the beginning of Traitors, the first 3 or 4 episodes, I was kind of like in the background because the loud voices in the room were like either getting banished or murdered. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to chill until the end and just like cultivate my relationships. But yeah, that would be interesting. It would be one of those things where they would probably have to vote with the majority. Otherwise, they would.
Yeah. No, you played a really good game in the beginning. I think the strategy was to just lay so low because those roundtables seem so intense that like you just want to like less is more, which is what Cirie did really good. It's just listening and letting other people talk. And there was so much drama in the house, which you stayed out of. What was it like? What was Kate really like? Did she piss everyone off, or who was the hardest to live with?
Honestly, Kate was so funny because like in the beginning we were like thick as thieves. I was like, oh, Kate's like so cool. Like we're gonna get along because we had a very similar read on people. But then she was like so over the top. I'm like, she's gonna get banished or murdered. So I gotta kind of distance myself from her because it could affect my gameplay. And then we kind of turned the corner, and I realized, becoming a traitor, I realized she wasn't a traitor, and she was basically just really trying to do everything she could to uncover them. It was so funny to watch her. There was this point in the middle of the show where she just really wanted to go home, as everyone saw. They were just like, and then Kate, when she could kind of see the finish line, she just kind of changed. She was like, oh shoot, I can win this. And then she really kind of put forth an effort, but then by then I was already a traitor. So it was kind of funny ride with her throughout the show. But I really wanted her to stay to the end. She felt like I was a faithful. I felt like I could direct her a little bit.
Who did you think was a traitor before you were a traitor?
I honestly thought it was Quentin. He was really good at the round table at like directing the group, and he always kind of like was very polished in his delivery. And when you watch the show back, he had it so wrong the entire time. In that scenario, I thought it was him, and I kind of thought it was Kate too. So when I was selected to be a traitor and I uncovered my hood, I was like, what? I was blown away. It was like, it was so wild because I had it so wrong, and it just goes to show that even if you think you're very perceptive and the people watching at home will probably be like, oh, how do they not see it? When you're in it,
For sure. And like the show is obviously like edited together. So there's different storylines with the characters. They show different things. So the audience view is so different from the actual show. Somebody asked, did you get to talk to your kids and your family while you were gone?
Very little. So in the beginning, a little bit more. Towards the end, no, not really. I would say maybe once a week on Sundays. We had like a dark day. We weren't allowed to like leave our room. You know, we just had room service, you know, or like someone bring us food. And we couldn't watch TV. Like, honestly, it was intense. I think that was kind of the hardest part was like when we weren't filming, you know, we couldn't just wander around because you would kind of figure out what's happening and you couldn't talk to your other castmates. So yeah, probably once a week on Sundays. And I was there for, I think, 4 to 5
So
weeks.
then did you guys have like a curfew when you had to like stay in your room at certain times?
Yeah, basically like you go up to your room, you don't come down until breakfast, or you get the death board.
Did you guys
know,
actually
and then
eat
you're
the
out of the game.
breakfast? Because the toast
But-
just always looked untouched.
All I did was eat. I mean, it's so good on Bachelor. I always got slack for that, eating on dates. And then my friends just texted shots of like me eating at breakfast, you know. The breakfast was honestly the best part. All the other meals in Scotland
Yeah.
were like not that great.
Are you watching this season of The Bachelor? Do you have any advice for Zach?
No.
Yeah, they have
That's why they don't have
Sean
me on
Love
giving
giving
advice,
advice.
obviously. Yeah, of course, Sean, you know. But no, I don't. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the premiere. I did hear that they're really trying to focus more on the love story this year, which I do think is good for the franchise, kind of bring it back to that place. But yeah, no, I wish him luck. I don't know much about it. I just heard that people are divided on if he's going to be a good Bachelor or not, but honestly, every season the Bachelor gets selected and people have something negative to say. So I do think
there was
time
this
will tell.
Dumois blind yesterday that a Bachelor Nation couple might be getting divorced. I'm not going to ask you who you think it is because I think that's wrong, but can you please confirm that you and Lauren are still together?
I can confirm that we're very solid, you know, and we celebrated our 4th year anniversary, and yeah, there's this like literally there's this one Instagram account that drives me crazy, and they always say we're separating, and it's just like I don't want to bring attention to it because I don't want to, you know, it to get more traction.
You and Lauren,
but yeah,
I love following you guys. I love your kids, your YouTube channel. Like, you're just such a nice couple. It's such a good follow. So I just love you guys. So much support and love.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We, you know, we love sharing kind of the family life with everyone and kind of the journey of what got us here. And the YouTube thing started out as something to do during COVID, and it's actually turned into something really fun.
That's
so we try to post on there.
And what did Lauren think of your game? And did you show Alessi any of the episodes, or did you tell her where you were?
Yeah, so she really didn't grab, you know, she didn't really understand where I was. She did watch a couple episodes, but she wasn't.
I feel like she'll be so into it in like a few years, and I can see her like playing it too.
Yeah, you know, she's only 3.5, so she doesn't. We don't really watch TV with her too much. But no, Lauren was really supportive on me going, and that was really cool of her to, you know, let me chase that and try to. And that was so frustrating. I'm like, either I need to go home right in the beginning so I get home to the babies, or I'm going to win this money. So it's really go all the way to the end and walk away with nothing. But ultimately, I made a lot of great friends. I think we made some good TV, and you know, who knows? You know, hopefully the next show that I do.
Yeah, have
with
you guys thought of like maybe like a home renovation show, or you guys could do the Amazing Race?
Yes, so we got asked to do Amazing Race, but the situation with that is you leave for a month as well, and I don't know who's going to watch all these 3 babies. And they don't take away your phone, but you have very limited contact with your family during Amazing Race as well. So that's something that we could probably do in the future, but not like the immediate.
And do you have any regrets from Traitors, or anything you want to clear up from the season?
No, I'd say, you know, no. I would say I'm happy with how it ended. You know, Cirie, you know, hats off to her. She's such a great person, and you know, I really do feel like she played an amazing game. I just wish that I could have turned the tables on her right at the end there and had Quentin and Andy win. What they didn't show was that Quentin announced that he was going to be a dad at the end game when I uncovered myself as a traitor, and there was so many emotions flying. And you know, I think there are no regrets. I think the one regret is I maybe should not have
Yeah,
underestimated.
but you said you didn't see her on Survivor, so you didn't know.
I know. So, but people talk in the house, and people did talk about her game on Survivor while we were there, which they didn't show much on the show, but, we all talked about each other's background. And, I was like, no, I have a good read on her. And then when she selected me, with Christian as a traitor, I was like, oh, we're rocking to the end together. And it's just hard to separate the game from the relationship that you built. I don't know if we'll ever be like really close, but I do respect her, and I am glad that she won.
And what was like the cast reaction from everyone, from talking to everyone? Was everybody just really surprised it was Cirie the whole time?
Yeah, I think so. I think the reaction, it's interesting. It's a lot like The Bachelor in the way that like the people who went home in the beginning have a totally different experience than the people that were there in the end. The reactions were kind of different from all the castmates. But a lot of people nailed her, like Brandi, for example. I think it was Brandi, a few people that went home.
Brandi, yeah, early. Brandi knew.
Brandi knew, and that was actually like, I would have no idea that Brandi would be so observant and nail it, but she really did, and she went home for it because of it. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, if you're too good at the game in the beginning, it can get you murdered. So you have to almost be either play your card close to your chest, trust no one, but you really do need a lot of voices in the room to get someone banished. So it's really a fine line of how you get to the end. If you can sort of manage to not get murdered or get recruited, then it's really like you almost have to keep an open mind, and it's really difficult to do. So yeah, the game is difficult. I feel like it could be, if I did it again, I might go home the first night. There's not really a really great strategy to enter with unless you're a traitor. And then
did you have a favorite challenge?
I mean, the last mission was cool. Like jumping out of a helicopter into the freezing water was like pretty sick. I think that's something that I'll always remember. Other than that, everyone always comments about the buried alive one, but it wasn't actually that bad. It was kind of nice, to be honest. Like, at that point, Christian was kind of on my nerves, so it was kind of nice to be put in a box and have 45 minutes of like...
That one looked scary.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. They had oxygen pumping into the coffins, so we knew we were safe. That's like the only way they could have done it. So they ran a tube into the coffin. They kind of showed us like, hey, look, you're getting oxygen the entire time you're there, so there's no real risk. The only thing that was kind of gross was a lot of bugs in there. Like, they were there underneath the ground, obviously. Yeah, I would say jumping out of the helicopter was like...
Do you think I got all the questions and the main points? If anyone has any other questions, leave them below. Is there anything you thought I would ask that I didn't ask yet?
I think you nailed it. I think like the last part of the show, it's called the end game, and why I walked away was like, the big question. And I think the simple answer, if people are jumping on right now, is just the fact that I was trying to help Andy and couldn't take the money at the end there with that Hail Mary, but they didn't pick up on it. Yeah, no, it was an awesome experience. I'm glad that you had me on. This is the first time I've really talked about the end of the show. And
I really appreciate you coming on here talking with me. I hope we answered everyone's questions. I was a huge fan of the show. I'm a huge fan of you, so I really appreciate this. And I will save the live if everybody missed it, so you guys can go back and check it out. Yeah, good to see you. But tell Lauren I say hi. Thank you. Bye.
Will do.
Thank you guys all so much for watching or listening to this podcast. I think it turned out really, really great, and we have more exciting interviews coming up, so please make sure you guys are subscribed. New interviews will be dropping every single Monday on my podcast and on my YouTube. It's Cirie Reality, and I love you guys all so much, so I hope you enjoy your week. Bye!